Gaza is becoming a graveyard for children. Hundreds of girls and boys are reportedly being killed or injured every day. More journalists have reportedly been killed over a 4-week period than in any conflict in at least 3 decades. More United Nations aid workers have been killed than in any comparable period in the history of our organization. I salute all those who continue their life-saving work despite the overwhelming challenges and risks. And the unfolding catastrophe makes the need for a humanitarian ceasefire more urgent with every passing hour. The parties to the conflict, and indeed the international community, face an immediate and fundamental responsibility to stop the inhuman collective suffering and dramatically expand humanitarian aid to Gaza.
Let's go now to Alia Zaki, who's the UN's World Food Programme Head of Communications for Palestine. She joins us now from Cairo in Egypt. Really good to have you with us, Alia. Now, the World Food Programme is one of 18 UN agencies and other organisations who on Monday signed a document calling for an urgent, immediate humanitarian ceasefire in Gaza. How important is a truce at this point in the conflict?
Well, I think we just heard the words of the Secretary General, and he was highlighting how dire the humanitarian situation is right now. And for humanitarian agencies, it's absolutely important that we must be able to carry out our operations and to reach all of these people who are in need. And of course, for that to happen, there needs to be safety, there needs to be protection. And so we welcome any calls that will allow for this to happen, because as the situation is right now, it is getting incredibly more and more challenging to actually be able to conduct these operations and to reach people with life-saving supplies like food and medicine and water.
Yes, tell us more about that, because even before the conflict, the demand for aid from the World Food Programme in Gaza was growing. I can only imagine now that the need for assistance there is unprecedented. So how is the World Food Programme able to continue operating in Gaza given the ever-present danger of Israeli strikes?
Well, absolutely. I mean, before this war started, we were talking that half of the population of Gaza are food insecure, and now we're looking at almost the entire population. So around 2.2 million people are estimated to be vulnerable to food insecurity right now. Right before I joined you here, I was on the phone with a colleague from Gaza who was saying that they're looking for food. This is one of our team members. And so the situation is becoming incredibly catastrophic. We're seeing from our shops, we monitor the shops to our best ability. Before we were working with around 200 shops to deliver assistance. Right now, less than half of this number is still operating. And even the ones that are operating are telling us that their shelves are empty, that they've run out of basic essential commodities like wheat flour and dairy products and eggs and water. They've run out 2 days ago almost. And so it is really becoming more and more difficult. And for us on the ground, with the trucks coming in, we're able to bring in some food supplies into Gaza, but it's merely a trickle in the ocean of needs. It's nowhere near enough to be reaching all of these people who are in need. And of course, we rely on our partners on the ground, and we rely on our team on the ground, and we rely on the networks of people who are going through the same tragedy, but still risking their lives to deliver at least some relief or some aid to the people in Gaza.
Well, as you say, the flow of aid into Gaza has been extremely limited, and your Executive Director, Cindy McCain, recently visited the Egyptian side of the Rafah border crossing that goes into Gaza. We know that that crossing has only been open for a limited time, and as you say, only a trickle of trucks have been able to actually flow in. Can you just tell us more about what's needed right now in terms of food and aid supplies in Gaza?
Well, it's essential that the food continues to go in and it continues to be able to reach the people in need. And so, right now we're seeing that the trucks are going in, but we're also warning that it's not just about access into Gaza. It's about having access inside Gaza to be able to distribute this food safely and quickly to the people wherever they are. And in order for this to happen, we need to ensure the protection of essential infrastructure. UN schools, distribution points, bakeries, these are all essential infrastructure that need to be safe so that humanitarian operations can continue and take place. And this is something that we continue to urge for, as well as the basic fundamentals for any operation to be able to run. Connectivity. We face huge challenges when there's connectivity cuts that we lose touch with our teams on the ground, and it makes it harder to deliver. And so, the basic requirements to conduct a humanitarian operation need to be in place so that we can continue reaching the people in need as their numbers are growing and as the situation is becoming more dire.
And Alia, what more can the international community do at this point in order to get that urgently needed relief into Gaza?
I think the international community needs to join us in our calls, and they need to also, ask all sides for cooperation in making sure that there's an end to the suffering, and that humanitarian agencies can continue doing what we are meant to be doing to at least alleviate some of the suffering of the people of Gaza.
Okay, Alia Zaki from the World Food Programme. We'll have to leave it there, but the best of luck with your work in Gaza, and thank you so much for joining us.